expectations for us are always high. We want to set a high standard for ourselves. Winning and losing, it matters to us. We want to develop our winning habits, from day one and carry that throughout the season. And our guys know that. We want to ultimately establish here in year one, like, who we are. Like, what does that mean? Our 3 core values: we want to be competitors, we want to compete every single day, we want to work and play together. Together is a huge thing for us, and then we want to get better. So as we measure how this season goes in, what our expectations are, it's all about us. It's all about how we want to work together, our habits, how we want to play together, and that's what we're going to hold each other accountable to every single day.
Coach,
who can you kind of rely on in this organization to help kind of build that culture with this roster being kind of young and the coaching staff being new to each other in some cases? Who is that on to sort of build and carry that culture?
Yeah, I think we have a unique situation here. Obviously, a lot of that responsibility falls on my shoulders, but I think we have a unique group where we have a great balance between vets and our young players, and vets that have experienced this at a high level and other spots. And then with our young guys, they've got a maturity and a professionalism about them where they've started to speak the same language. I can't wait to see how they're working every single day, and I just know internally in them they carry that DNA. So it's going to be a holistic approach where I want to empower everyone in this building, all the coaches, all the players, to take on that mantle of having that leadership. So it's going to be fun, to see how they all grow together.
Coach, you with having John Morant healthy, ready to go now. He's fully ready to go, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the guy's talent is unlimited, but what kind of leash will you have on him if he starts to get, hey, I'm throwing passes across here and they're going out of bounds, popcorn stand? What is his leash, or are you going to just let him go?
Yeah, so very excited that John's ready to go, fully go come tomorrow. With him, I want him to play fast and aggressive. I'm not going to pump the brakes a whole lot. I know he's a rookie. He's got a lot to learn, on and off the court at the NBA level. But I want him to play to his strengths. And if there's a little bit of a learning curve where we have to live with somewhat quote-unquote mistakes, but they're learning opportunities in my mind. So I want him to go full bore. And, at the end of the day, he'll figure out what kind of player he's going to be, with his long career ahead of him.
Taylor, do you have starting lineup or lineups in mind? How much of this process, because there's so many different young guys and you're just kind of getting guys used to each other and different ones?
Yeah, it's definitely something I've been thinking about, our lineups, our rotations throughout the summer. Very excited to see how training camp will unfold. I think, with the depth that we have and the talent that we have, it excites me because it's going to be challenging, but it's a good thing to have to be mindful of every single day. From a starter standpoint, Ja, Jaren, and Jonas are going to be out there, and then at our wing position, I think we got great depth. We got great competitors that are going to push each other, and we'll kind of make those decisions as we go. But I'm excited about the versatility that we'll have on this team. Guys that can play multiple positions, they can guard multiple positions. So it's going to be a nice little puzzle to put together, and at the end of the day, find the guys that are going to compete at the highest level for us.
Playing with pace and space, how important is the outside shot from the 2 and the 3 spot, and how do you kind of feel about the outside shooting that you have at that position, going into this?
No, I feel really good. I think it's also just 1 through 5. We got to be able to shoot it from the 3-point line, and a lot of the initial wave of our offense, our 4s and 5s. As I said, rim running and getting to the paint. With Ja and Tyus, but even some of our bigs being able to advance and attack as well. Different guys are going to be attacking, and then some guys will be spaced out. So you just never know where you are at a given time. Our 2s and 3s, super confident in their ability to shoot the 3. And it's, with all of our guys, as I said, 1 through 5, big emphasis of ours, letting it fly. That's going to be a big piece to our player development program for each of our guys. And I know they'll fully embrace it, with this exciting style of play. But as I said, a lot of different guys will be attacking, which will create opportunities for others.
Taylor, you still have, though, two of the better bigs. Jonas was brought back, and he's wanted to work on his game. Triple J had shot from the out. So how do you integrate still having 2 bigs on the floor where you can take those matchups, but that really doesn't work in today's NBA? Not a lot of teams have those 2 bigs that are going to be on the floor a lot.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think it's important to still have those 2 bigs, in my opinion. Obviously, the NBA has been changing, but Jonas over the last couple of years has kind of started to slowly, change his game, and I think he's really excited in the conversations I've had with him about, still playing to his strengths. It's going to be a big focus of ours. Our offense is built around all 5 guys and utilizing their strengths, not just Ja and Jaren. So Jonas still getting his opportunities in the low basket, manning the paint on the offensive end, and then stretching it out. I know he's been putting in the work from the 3-point line, and got some exposure to FIBA games as well. I know he's excited about it. And then the other piece to it is I think we have two really good defensive bigs too. From a anchor standpoint, how we want to protect the paint, clog it up, still make shots really tough and limited and contested on the three-point line. You definitely have to have a guy like Jonas in there from a pick and roll standpoint, man-to-man standpoint, defensive rebounding, then Jaren as well, man in the paint, rebounding, blocking shots. That's going to be key to our success on the defensive end.
Would it be fair to say that Jaren is the focal point for the team this season?
No, I think the focal point is on all of our guys. Every day that we come in, it's about each one's development. And, my challenge to them is going to be their individual development is going to lead to our team growth. So don't want to put any of that pressure spotlight on one guy. I think we've got a great, collection of talent 1 through 5. We've got a deep roster. We've got a selfish group and a competitive group. And that's kind of our mentality as we go on. We all benefit from each other's success.
Has it been nice to see the way that he's been seizing a leadership role? He seems to be everywhere, whether it's Summer League, embracing Ja, et cetera, that he's growing into that role?
Yeah, 100%. And the other thing is it's organic. No one's pressuring him into those spots. He wants to take on that leadership role. And, for a guy just going into his second year to take on that ownership for, what we can build here in Memphis, the success that we want to build here on a daily basis, it's fun to watch as a coach, someone that you can lean on to, help motivate the group, push the group, and he does that on his own without me even having to do that.
How do you balance between establishing the way you want to play with winning on a given? Let's say you don't have great three-point shooters. Do you still want? It isn't what you want it to be. Do you want this year to establish the way you want to play, or are you going to be tailoring it to winning individual games? How do you do to try to have that balance?
Yeah, that's a kind of mentioned earlier. Winning's important to us. We want the results to lead us to win. We want the shots to fall, but at the end of the day, try to really discover and identify who we want to be. How we work behind the scenes, but also when we come out every single game, how we play. That's my main focus. I'm never going to tell a guy if he's open to turn down a shot because it wasn't going in. I want them to have the ultimate confidence on the offensive end to let it fly because with our unselfish style of play, I think everyone benefits from that. So I want to breed positivity and confidence in these guys.
Taylor, as a coaching staff, are you handcuffed a little bit with the fact that a couple of guys that are going to be on this roster aren't going to be here? So you lose those players, which might force you to lose a guy or have to cut a guy loose that you might have wanted to keep otherwise. With the way the roster is, 2 guys, how do you deal with the guys that aren't here but that are still going to count as being here?
Yeah, I don't think it's concern at all. I don't think we're handcuffed. These are decisions we made early in the summer that we're fully aware of. Obviously, we're going to have some hard decisions to make given the circumstances, but we've got tons of confidence in our two ways too. We study up on how good these guys can be and the potential that they have to, be full-time NBA players. We've got high hopes for John, Conchar, and Yuta. So I think we're in a great spot, and when we have to make those decisions, they will be tough, but I think we're in a good spot as we've planned this out over the course of this summer.
So how's your expectation for the Utah for this year? And then did you watch his play at the World Cup? And then if you did, how was impression?
Yeah, I definitely watched him. I know we got a small sample from him from Summer League, and then when he got back from China, he and I talked about his experience with the Japanese national team, him taking on that leadership role. The ball was in his hands a lot. I think back to the last game he had where he scored over 30 points and just the confidence he played with. I think he's a guy that's super versatile on both ends of the floor. I think we're in a unique situation with our two-way players, better than some other teams, I would hope, that these guys can play at the NBA level on a consistent basis. So my main focus for him is whether he's with the Grizzlies or with the Hustle, he's just constantly trying to get better, adapt to our system of play. I have no doubt that his work habits are going to be some of the best in the entire NBA. So I know he's going to truly get better. It's going to be fun to see how how he develops.
So now he has two-way contract. Is there any possibility he can be just NBA player?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we utilize our two-way contracts. We want to identify these guys. It's another opportunity and avenue for us to get guys into our program to develop. And if the opportunity rises for him, I'd be super excited for him. So he's definitely a guy that we have a lot of hopes for.
Are you satisfied with the way the development situation has played out with the agreement reached and kind of that he's going to do his thing and do your thing? Is that a satisfactory outcome for you?
Yeah, I think Zach and I in conversations and with Andre's group, I think everyone's in a good place. So I think the situation it's been presented. I think we're in a good spot, and really just focus on the group that we have moving forward right now.
Talk about letting Ja go and living with his mistakes. And you're You're a rookie too. The same process for you.
Probably less than for me. So I'm, the great thing I know about Ja and I've learned about Ja, he's super critical of himself, kind of like I am. That's that ultimate competitor in him. He's a team first guy that I know he's, got a lot to learn on and off the floor, as I said earlier. But he kind of comes with that mentality every single day. He wants to be the best version of himself. And that's my mentality with him, is go out there, you're going to learn on the fly, you're going to learn a lot from me, your teammates, and just keep finding the best version of Ja Morant. And that's what I'm going to challenge myself with, is keep looking at myself in the mirror every single day. How can I get better when I do make a mistake, learn from it, grow from it? Because that responsibility that we all have is to benefit the team.
You mentioned the depth of the squad. How deep do you envision a rotation going? Like as you get to the regular season, can you play 10? Can you play more? I mean, how does
Yeah, I mean, I haven't kind of like pinpointed that number yet, but I think going into the early part of the season, if you can play 10 guys, 82 game season's a long stretch, so I want to be mindful of that. So we'll make those decisions as we go, but it's gonna be fun to watch these guys throughout camp and our preseason games. I can't wait just to see how this will all unfold. But I'm confident that we'll have really good depth throughout the season.
What's the hope you guys have for Josh Jackson?
Sorry, say that one more time.
What's the hope you guys have for Josh Jackson?
We have a lot of hope. I mean, we had a great positive conversation with Josh last week and kind of sat down and presented a plan for him, and he's fully bought in. He's a great kid. I know he's a worker. He's willing to work, willing to come into this situation and really grow, both on the court and off the court, and support that we're going to provide him, I know he's excited about. So I've got high hopes for him to just take it one day at a time and just really focus on being the best version of Josh Jackson he can be, and we'll see how it all plays out.
Coach, the NBA the whole landscape has shifted, kind of moved away from super teams more to power duos. How do you see this team's development kind of playing out in a league that's kind of jumbled up all the way around?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to be mindful of what the rest of the league's doing, as you talked about the shift that's out there. But for me, our focus is just internally on how we collectively are going to get better, and how, all players on our roster developing, how our team, any 5 guys are on the floor at any given time, give us our best chance to win. So, whatever's going on in the rest of the league, I'm just really focused on how we develop and, this in year 1.
Hey, Coach, what do you want Grizzlies fans to know about the team this season?
About the team? So I hope the Grizzlies fans, as I've had a lot of conversation with people throughout the summer, I know they're super excited about the team. I want them to know that we're going to be a team that's going to compete every single night, that we're going to lay it on the line, and it's a product of everything we're doing behind the scenes, in our practices, in our vitamins, in our training sessions, and that we're a team that really plays together. We're an unselfish team. All 5 guys are super involved, and then we're going to get better. from day 1 till the 82nd game and beyond, year after year, we're getting better. Any final questions?
During your coaching in Milwaukee, you play